NFL free agency starts on Monday, and coming up on today's show, going to take a look at all of the Eagles free agents, but also some of the top NFL free agents who the Eagles could look to target once free agency does begin on Monday. And make sure you subscribe to us, because as soon as these deals come out, we're going to be talking about it here on the channel, as Howie Roseman is set to be busy with 11 combined starters on offense and defense. So let's begin first with looking at all of the Eagles' 2023 NFL free agents. A lot of big-time players and marquee free agents who are set to hit the open market. It includes Fletcher Cox, Robert Quinn, Brandon Graham, Javon Hargrave, Jason Kelce, James Bradbury, Isaac Seumalo, Andre Dillard, Kaiser White, TJ Edwards, Ndamukong Suh, Linval Joseph, Boston Scott, Zach Pascal, Miles Sanders, and then some special teamers here, because special teamers are people too. You have Rick Lovato, the long snapper. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson has become a fan favorite. According to Adam Schefter, he thinks that he might go get a bag elsewhere. Sua Opeta, Tyree Jackson, Gardner Minshew, and Marcus Epps rounding out the list of Eagles free agents. And what's the theme there, right? The theme is that there are a lot of important players who played a monumental role in the Eagles winning the NFC title last year and making it to the Super Bowl, who are going to have opportunities to cash in. And as of right now, I'm a little bit worried in particular with this Eagles defense, because my prediction as of right now, they're going to lose Javon Hargrave. He could get between $18 and $20 million per year. CJ-Gardner-Johnson could get between $13 and $15 million per year. James Bradbury could get paid. You're losing potentially guys like TJ Edwards. So this Eagles team is going to look a lot different. They are expecting to get a lot of compensatory picks back for a lot of these players that would come into play in the 2024 NFL draft. But what's going to happen in 2023? That's why this free agency period is so pivotal for the Eagles. With that, before we take a look at the external free agent targets, your way too early prediction as to how many games the Eagles win this upcoming season in 2023. Let us know down below. Hopefully it's in the double-digit numbers. Eagles needs and questions. Backup quarterback behind Jalen Hurts. He's missed 4 combined starts over his last 2 years as a starter. Running back, because you're not sure what's going to happen with Miles Sanders and Boston Scott. Right guard, because Isaac Seumalo could get a pretty bag from an offensive needy team that needs to bulk up that line. Linebacker, Kaiser White, TJ Edwards, both free agents. Cornerback in particular, it's James Bradbury. Safety, both of your safeties, Marcus Epps and CJ-Gardner-Johnson, might not be back in 2023. Wide receiver 3, I think, is a need, because Quez Watkins hasn't cut it for me. And then punter as well, as Aaron Siposs is a little bit on the hot seat. When it comes to the cash flow for this organization and how they're going to allocate their financial resources, a big question that's in line with that is the Jalen Hurts contract extension. When will Hurts get paid, and what will that contract look like? Because that will likely impact the offensive spending spree, and it'll definitely impact the cash flow. Quarterbacks due for deals this year across the NFL during this upcoming offseason. It's Joe Burrow for the Cincinnati Bengals, Justin Herbert of the Los Angeles Chargers. Lamar Jackson is looking to cash in as well. So too is Jalen Hurts. One of these quarterbacks potentially could reset the quarterback market, or if one of them signs for a little bit cheaper than anticipated, maybe that helps the Eagles with giving Jalen Hurts a more team-friendly deal. Could Hurts be in the line to become one of the highest paid quarterbacks per year in the NFL? Maybe. With how he played in the Super Bowl, a lot of people think that he could. Is he going to get Aaron Rodgers money? I don't believe so. $50 million per year is a lot. Is he going to overtake Russell Wilson? I don't think so. But could he get and enter the realm of the Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, or Patrick Mahomes range? That is in play this upcoming offseason for that Hurts contract extension. Take a guess then, since we're talking about Hurts here. How much will his new contract pay him on an average annual value basis? Is it going to be 40, 45, $50 million per year? Take a swing at it for us. Top backup quarterbacks to really solidify that backup position, because I don't think the Eagles are going to retain Gardner Minshew. Not a scheme fit. Didn't really play that well in that second start against the New Orleans Saints, and I think he might be a little bit too expensive for the Eagles' liking. Jacoby Brissett, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Andy Dalton. Those are some of the marquee quarterbacks who are going to be free agents. Other names that I can throw out there, Taylor Heineke, Cooper Rush, and a guy like Marcus Mariota. Those players could intrigue the Eagles as well. And if Jameis Winston is let go by the New Orleans Saints, he too could hit the market. I think you should watch out for this. There's been a lot of buzz, a lot of rumblings behind Marcus Mariota going to the team that a lot of people and Eagles fans had wished drafted him back several years ago. Mariota, just because of the scheme's fit perspective, could be a nice backup for Jalen Hurts. Highest paid quarterbacks per year. You take another look at this, right? So we already looked at the top 5, but for Jalen Hurts, could he enter the top 10? Now that Derek Carr, Daniel Jones are on that list, I think that Hurts and his agent can go to the Eagles organization and say, there's no question that I am a better player than Derek Carr. I've had more success than Daniel Jones, both with my production and in the playoffs. So, again, something to keep an eye out for as these Hurts contract negotiations really start to pick up. And I really don't have an indication or a good feeling as to when he might get paid. I just have a feeling that he's going to get paid somewhere in that realm. Let's start off by taking a look at these external free agents here on top of those backup quarterbacks that we just took a look at. And let's start with running back here. So Miles Sanders, how much is he going to get paid? And could he come back to Philadelphia? I think the writing is on the wall that he's not, because the Eagles oftentimes don't give running backs a second contract and they don't pay them a lot of money. But if Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs get these massive contracts, and even David Montgomery gets a large deal, Tony Pollard got franchise tagged by Dallas, but the Cowboys could still sign him to a long-term deal. That really could dictate the going rate and the asking price for Sanders. And if it does get bumped down to like $5 million, I would certainly entertain it to have that continuity on this offense. But if you don't want to bring him back, some other potential cheaper options could be a Damian Harris, a Kareem Hunt, or a Devin Singletary as we take a look at the top running back free agent targets there. What do you think? Predict it for us. Will Miles Sanders be back in 2023? He has said that he wants to come back, but I don't think that Howie Roseman's going to re-sign him. B for back, G for gone. Comment down below. Let's shift gears to wide receiver here. All throughout this offseason, I have been saying, I think you have to upgrade wide receiver 3 from Quez Watkins. Luckily for Philadelphia, some intriguing wide receivers who are available. Odell Beckham Jr. didn't play in 2022, but can you imagine him coming out of the slot? I think that OBJ still has gas left in the tank. 2 years ago with the Los Angeles Rams, throughout that playoff run, and when he caught that touchdown in the Super Bowl, I still saw the explosion and the route running, but he did tear an ACL for the second time, so we'll see what happens with him. Juju Smith-Schuster. Word is he's going to go back to the Kansas City Chiefs, but he's a fraud who talked shit against A.J. Brown in a really phony fashion. I don't want to see TikTok boy in Philadelphia. Jacoby Myers going to be out of the Eagles' price range as well. New England Patriots, I don't think are going to pay him because he honestly could get between $14 and $17 million per year. Michael Thomas is still on that Saints roster, but could be a cap casualty. DJ Chark is a guy who produced for the Jacksonville Jaguars, last year produced for the Detroit Lions on a short-term deal. I wouldn't hate him as a wide receiver 3. Mecole Hardman could fill that category of being a gadget guy who can also get vertical. Allen Lazard, if you want a big-bodied wide receiver, the Eagles don't really have that because A.J. Brown is more than that. That's a compliment to A.J., by the way. Paris Campbell, speed threat, but injured way too much. Julio Jones is washed. Jarvis Landry for $1 million per year. I'd certainly take that since the Eagles are a little bit tight on the salary cap. Before we continue to keep it moving, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And how many of our Eagles fans love the NFL draft? Because we have a brand new Eagles draft channel and NFL draft channel here at Chat Sports. Well, we'll be covering Eagles stuff. We'll be covering NFL stuff. Show it some love by subscribing today. Our crew that was working really, really hard from the NFL Scouting Combine, they put up a bunch of player interviews. We have mock drafts, player analysis, all that and more. Show us some love by subscribing, youtube.com/chatnfl. Let's go to the offensive line now. I love talking about the big boys in the trenches. Isaac Seumalo should be a priority for this Eagles organization. And you think about how Howie Roseman builds the roster inside out, right? And my rules for building a team: get the quarterback right, bulk up the offensive line to protect the quarterback, and then get after the quarterback. And because that's the Eagles' team philosophy, could they be willing to pay Isaac Seumalo 8, 10, maybe even more than that, millions of dollars per year? This is a guy who's really developed within this Eagles organization. Jeff Stoutland's done a great job for him, and I'd love to see the Eagles continue to have offensive line as a focus and really bolster that unit. Seumalo in 2022, overall Pro Football Focus grade of 75.2, a pass blocking grade of 79.1, run blocking grade of 69.5, total snaps more than 1,100, and he only gave up 1 sack, 3 hits, 20 total pressures, and 6 penalties. To defensive line now. A couple of really good players who are going to be free agents, including one of the Eagles' own guys. That's Javon Hargrave, who I don't think is going to return because he could get $18 to $20 million per year. He really headlines this class of top free agents. Daron Payne did get franchise tag. Dalvin Tomlinson could be a cheaper option for the Eagles, maybe. Draymond Jones, the defensive tackle out of Denver, and then Zach Allen, other good players there. Interact with me on Twitter and Instagram throughout NFL free agency. I'm going to be tweeting out a bunch of stuff, videos, pictures, analysis, updates at Chase_Senior on Twitter, at Chase_Senior on Instagram. To defensive end for the Eagles, Brandon Graham got drafted in 2010, age 34 season, coming off a popped Achilles, still had a career-high 11 sacks. I think that the Eagles are going to look to maybe improve the defense as a whole. I'm not sure what they're going to do at defensive end. Are they comfortable with Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham? Keep in mind that Derek Barnett is going to be back. I wouldn't hate bringing in another edge rusher, but also Hassan Reddick had 19.5 sacks combined in the regular season as well as in the playoffs. But if you want to bring in a player at defensive end, there's a nice little choosing of players here. Yannick Ngakoue, Philadelphia's own. Jadeveon Clowney, more of a 3-4 guy, but that's what Sean Desai might be running. Marcus Davenport, Arden Key, Charles Omenihu, Justin Houston, the ageless wonder, kind of like BG, and Samson Ebukam. Those are really the top 8-ish defensive end free agents in this class. Frank Clark, also a free agent now after he was just released by the Kansas City Chiefs. To cornerback, James Bradbury, another Philadelphia Eagle, headlining this list. And if you let him go, can you pay a cheaper price to a Rock Ya-Sin, a Sean Murphy-Bunting, an Emmanuel Mosley, a veteran in Marcus Peters, potentially? What I think the Eagles are going to do, I think that they're going to draft the corner either at number 10 or at number 30. They're going to team them up alongside Darius Slay. That's how they replace James Bradbury. A player being selected at number 10 will have a salary cap hit of about $4 million for 2023. So keep that in mind during this free agency period. I think that's the smartest play, but what's interesting is that the Eagles have not drafted a cornerback in the first round since Lito Shepherd out of Florida in the early 2000s. Lastly, safety position. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, how much is he going to get? He could get a nice little bag here. Between $12 and $15 million, I believe. And if that's the case, the Eagles might struggle to bring him back. I think what you might see from the Eagles this year, they're going to let a lot of these pricey defensive free agent targets go. And then really their philosophy and their game plan, they're going to hope that Jalen Hurts takes another stride. They still have elite members on that offense. They're going to try to outscore a lot of opponents. But still, on that defensive line, you still have Josh Sweat, hopefully Brandon Graham, Hassan Reddick, Jordan Davis, Milton Williams. They have to take that next step. What's going to happen at that second level, at that linebacker position, and in the secondary as well. But still, even with those players on the roster last year, they got dominated by the Kansas City Chiefs offense, so maybe they kind of shift gears a little bit, defense less of a focus, and they try to outscore teams. Before we round out this segment and get to this $500 super chat, your level of confidence in Howie Roseman heading into free agency. Scale it for us from 1 to 100, 1 not confident, 100 overly confident. Let us know. We appreciate all of you for watching. And subscribe to our NFL Draft YouTube channel. It's brand new. We just surpassed 1,000 subscribers. YouTube.com/chatNFL.